Meh. Bruh. Bot is sleeping. Bot just decides to show up whenever it wants. Hey Victor. Yeah, all good. How's you? How's your Thursday going? Working on just proportions of Portington Run. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Good stuff. I'm trying to figure out how to use this modeling toolkit to fix some unwanted areas. Modern toolkit is potato in Unreal. We do it this way. Like I remember how to even use you, good friend. How could you? Yo, T. How are your guys' Thursday going? Gone quick, that's for sure. Hey, Mescalito, how are you? Hey, Chelsea, how do? How are you? So yeah, just cleaning up meshes at the moment. So the reason I took this into Blender is I needed to get rid of like these little prongs that were inside the bulb and they were casting shadow. And then Unreal Modeling Toolkit is just horrible to use. So we use the lesser evil and clean it out in Blender. And then we've just re-imported it. So now you won't get the bulb won't cast shadow, and the prongs inside it won't cast these stripes that we used to have. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove some controls and set some others to keep this as simple as possible, and it'll be almost ready to go, which will be pretty cool. So I think I want to remove some of the bulb light controls because it's such a small point light. There's not much point in having like a fog scattering and an indirect intensity potentially. Source radius, I think by default can leave that on 1. I mean, looking at it, 1 is kind of maybe 3. If you do it too much, it might bleed out into the mesh. Let's check this one. So maybe a default of 3 and just unexpose that as a setting. Oh, you couldn't see the prongs anyway. They were just cast. I only knew they were there because they're casting a shadow. Make a lamp so realistic it actually matches the IES. Oh, good. Oh, good, bro. I did need to add IES actually. You reminded me. Yo, Eric, how you doing, chat? Wait, why is that? What? Interesting. Okay. How's your guys' Thursdays going? Almost end of the week. Two job interviews. How'd they go? How'd you think they went? Learning substance designer? Hey, nice. I jumped into designer for a few weeks on stream. We made some basic shapes. But yeah, it's definitely a deep dive onto that program is a good one. There we go. IES, thanks to Vinix. Vinix Vixen. We have IES. Light function next. Nah, don't get me on that Houdini shit. I get enough of that from Leah. I have a question. If anyone's a Blueprint Pro in here, I have a question. So if I grab the parent, right? Oh fuck. The parent it starts with main settings, which is what it should start with. Then the bulb and then the throw. But on the child, it starts bulb, main, and then throw, and it's exactly the same. It's just a child. Quite weird. I don't know if anyone's ever bumped into that or knows the solution or if it's a bug or usually that should stay at the top. I think they went well, waiting for the art test from one company. Hey, nice. Can't wait to find out who it is once you get one of them. Yeah, Mascalita. We have these two Houdini users in the community, Fabio and Leah. Fabio he's insufferable, so he doesn't deserve a shout out. We used blueprints in UD. Remember that. Must be a bug then. Hey, Mohammed Timur. You're very welcome. Yes, I've seen all your thank yous on all my videos. I appreciate it greatly. Always makes me chuckle. I'm like, oh, Mohammed's left another comment saying thank you. So polite. Oh my god, thank you very much. I think you thanked me like 200 times. You're the goat. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your support. I shall keep making videos. Papa bless. I need the IES enable box. That's why it's not working. Do you like in candela values or lumens? Depends. If it's everyone's got their own little thing, but I use lumens most of the time. If it's a candle or a TV screen, like you have like a rectangle light coming out of a like a TV or whatever, right? And you want to simulate that, I tend to use candela, but I use lumens most of the time or unitless. Use a lot of unitless as well. Turn off inverse on a lot of lights nowadays. That source radius is causing some light bleeding just where my mouse is. Not a huge fan of that. I might bring that back. Right, let's add an enable button. Oh, interesting. Do you know MGS5? I want to match that visual quality with assets. No, I haven't played Metal Gear since the first one. Where you have to go back 100 levels to get the sniper rifle, and then you have to plug out your controller for Psycho Mantis. Those be the ones I played. Ugh. That's interesting. Why is that? The set IES texture is in the function. It won't work, but all these other controls will work. But if it's outside the function, it will work. Inside, it won't. Let me just confirm that. Plug the same settings in. So same setup. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Can't be in a function apparently. Not a big deal. But I wonder why that is. Wonder why that can't live in here. Maybe it's a different category of setting. I wonder if it's the same for light functions. I want to reintroduce source control for the point light. Because on some light casings it bleeds through with the higher the source radius. So I do actually need that as a setting. This is where we like battle test every setting we would want in a common sense way. Not do too many settings. Introduce you. If you see this little blue line, that's from the source radius, I believe. So if I set this down to 0, it disappears. So it's just the way the mesh is made as well. But if I set this to 1, that should be fine. Every time I watch these videos, same. This is why I like visual scripting, right? Because it's only a matter of nodes before you get it right. So it works well with a potato like me. Let's see if light functions also have the same issue with IES, where they don't work inside the function. So let's do set light function. Do promote you to a variable. Function material, not light function texture. Well, I might type in Gobo texture. See if it's the same deal. Oops. Right, Gobo texture. God, do we have any? Let's just find like a dirt map. Oh God. Do not have any Gobos on me. I can't tell. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's going to have the same issue. It would help if I had an actual. Not have a checker texture material. Let's see. We'll get one ourselves. Hobo? No way. Interesting. So when it relates to adding a texture to a light, it doesn't work when it's in a function. Maybe because when you look at a light settings, technically these are the light settings, but then light function and light profiles are their own submenu, so they probably can't go together in that aspect. At least that's what I'm guessing. So we'll just copy pasta this over to the main bit. Quick tip, most of you know it. You got two nodes that are misaligned. Press one, shift click the other, press Q, and you'll align it. Doesn't work with variables though, from what I can see. It works with the main nodes. So that should technically work now. And it does. Nice. Source length, use temperature, effect will, cast shadow, we have that. Indirect, volumetric. Distance. I think that'll do. Ugh. I think that's enough controls. Reminder, if you're on the Patreon, make sure it works in the feedback thread. We'll be starting there momentarily. Gonna battle test this a little bit. What up, Slate? Yeah, just throw him in the thread, man. Yeah, it's all good. No problem. I'm gonna try this because T has reminded me unintentionally of something as I think of more quality of life without overcomplicating. Yes. Oh, how do I get that? Oh, to be underneath. Uh, 'Cause it's second here, not second on the list. Mm. Oh God, I don't know how to do that. I'll have to look at that. You're right next to it on the visual script. Ah, no, interesting. Maybe it's a bug. Maybe I can do this. It's still at the bottom. Oh, oh! Curious, if I re-add these now, if I re-add attenuation, that's weird. Hmm. What if I make you first? You're just fucking vibing down there. Okay. Yeah, okay. We'll figure that out another time. The functionality's there, so we've got light units as well, just in case. Because everyone likes to use different light units depending on the prop, so keep it flexible in it. Moving this to be underneath intensity, that's another mystery to solve. There we go. I think we've finished off the controls we need. Let's get rid of that horrible fog. Light units, lumens, yeah. Why is the fog gone crazy? Oh, volumetric scattering. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why I like visual scripting. I'm just missing a node. There we go. Cool. Well, that wraps that up. We're almost ready. Cool. All right, let's look at some Discord. Also, new video YouTube coming out tomorrow. Hell is Us. So keep an eye out on the channel. Why does Hell is Us look like this? I think the bot's dead again, but we'll see. Yeah, bot's dead. Right. Yeah. Rightio, let's start. My God, Slate. In the thread. In the thread, they're gonna ban you. Also, you linked a mirror, not a screenshot. Post your screenshots. I'm gonna get Leah 20 down, bro. We can't look at mirrors nowadays. We've blown up too much. Gone are the days where it was one person a week. All right, let's start off with Leah. Leah and V. So, been working on destruction. Actually, I'll turn my music down. This week, I've been working on optimizing Chaos performance tiers and added a menu with helper per parameter to help the tool be more transparent in the studio setting. We also found an environment for our showcase. Bruh. Oh, this was the environment I was relighting for. Everyone's using it now. I was going to use this for textures, but I think I might just strip this down to a grey material and remove some of the props, replace them with boxes, and use it as my grey box lighting series. Because I've seen loads of people using this in the textured state. But yeah, it's a good place to use it for destruction, right? We have 9 more days to combine for the HDA together with Blueprints and Niagara. What do you think is a visual feature that could be realistic to implement in 3 days? Nothing. It's not possible. Before we start working on the final showcase. I was looking at the finals destruction, and the geometry in itself is quite simple, but uses particles and a different material around cutting lines. Yeah. Via's also posted a video of our project. Well, if it's not in the thread, I do not look at it. Apologies. It has to be in the thread. So chaos performance budget, low, mid. So is this what would sort of tie in if somebody was changing their graphic settings from like medium, high, and low? Scalability, is that what you're doing essentially? Yeah, the finals destruction is really nice. What do you think is a visual feature that could be realistic to implement? I'd say actually texturing it. It doesn't look. I mean, that's the environment you're using, right? But just a picture of the environment, unless you're meant to be shooting it and stuff. And that's just reference. Scalability. That's pretty good. Scalability. You just gotta think of a way you can show that off. Maybe if there's a high, medium, low button, or it changes in the scalability options in Unreal. So when you're going up here, in here, and when you change between these, maybe it updates and you link it into the scalability. That could be pretty cool to show because scalability is something tech art and graphics will do a lot of for medium, high, and low, and ultra as well, which would be cool. What do you think is a visual feature that could be realistic to implement? I'd say to texture it. I mean, it's not textured, right? It's just blocks still. If you want to get all this sort of texture spawning around the edges and stuff. But is your intention to shoot this down? Are you going to replace these pillars with your own version and shoot it? Well, that would be pretty cool if it was. Those look very shootable. But yeah, otherwise I don't know. I mean, yeah, good scalability. That looks pretty destroyed. If that's your scene, that'd be cool to shoot down. If you can set that up for 2 days' time. Well, yeah, not much else to say really, because I don't know the current state of it. A little. I'd say texture the thing. Get it textured. I think for yours is very much a video thing, right? So even though it's like screenshots, yours is a very specialized project. So I would just post just a short clip. It's understandable for this one, right? It's going to be better in motion. Yeah, maybe if you can throw a clip in before I finish the other two, can have a look. Currently pushing the props and world building, the wide angle shot for the store. I did set up for the block out interior. The fridge will be my hero prop shot. Just wondering about the framing. So is this just your establishing shot? Because this doesn't look like a hero shot for a fridge. I think a good shot of a fridge would be like almost like framing the entire thing, right? This looks more like an establishing shot, so I think an angle you want to have is kind of like a cropped in camera. Um, yeah, so you want sort of like a higher focal length and maybe cropping in. So this sort of, you can see everything quite close up. You want that sort of angle, but in here. So maybe your camera's over here looking on it to the right. And then you can actually really focus in a lot of details. Maybe have the fridge halfway open and vice versa. I think these elements here, they're probably better if you just push them a bit to the edge to use them as framing elements. Depends because they're very blue. Your blockout's very saturated, right? So I would tone down the saturation a bit because albedos shouldn't be that saturated anyway. So even whilst you're in the early part of this, just desaturate some of these a little bit so they're not as crazy. I would be tempted to kind of push this way and push this way so it starts off the camera. That way it turns into a framing element as well. And then you're kind of framing in from there. But yeah, this shot it's okay, but it's like what's the focus here? don't be afraid to frame up much closer for the fridge and crop in if you need to. Then have this shot as your establishing shot. Yeah, check the scale, drop the UE mannequin in, put his hand near some of the stuff, because some of the stuff looks quite large. So yeah, desaturate your albedos. I mean, if you look at all these albedos, these are from, especially this one that's in the middle. It's all, there's nothing too saturated. The most saturated thing is this board here, right? It's all quite dull and almost like pastel, but that's pretty good for lighting purposes. So you can focus on that for your block out whilst you're here. And just be careful of like this darkness. So this is very dark, this area. So just be aware of how dark things are. You can try and use, if there's an exterior, you can try and use skylight leaking. It's an option in your PPV. So skylight leaking a tiny bit, or having some openings, some windows at Lumen. Lumen loves windows. It can inject in from them for GI. So yeah, just be careful that this is too dark and this is too bright. You're going to start lighting to address the shadows, and it's going to get quite messy. So try and address it holistically with like skylight leaking or the tone mapper. So changing the toe on the filmic tone mapper to bring the shadows up a bit. But I cover like how to do like interiors that are part of exteriors and the Miro Patreon videos for lighting those village huts. Just lift up a bit of the toe and you're good. Yeah, desaturate, frame those things on the side, and then just start detailing up the fridge and try and get a closer angle of the fridge based on that example we showed. But a fridge is a great hero asset because you can kind of go ham on it. Eric, this week was a little slow, no problem. I managed to work on the roof a bit more. So did you look at the stuff Leah sent you? You know, those pretty nice geometry views from YouTube of how they do their roofs. Did that help you with sort of getting a recipe for how to break down this stuff? Although it looks like you probably worked on the other roof this week, so maybe not. But yeah, that video is great. That it was linked last week. It shows all the details and how they do it. Yeah, this feels much better. It feels much more organic, not as like super straight cubes with wood texture on. So this looks pretty good. Do you have bolts on it? If not, get some bolts on it. You know, that storytelling. So bolt, bolt, bolt. Have the nails coming off in some areas, slightly bending off. I mean, you can make the actual nails, right? Pretty low poly and just twist and turn them. You don't need to bake the nails in for some of these ones closer to the ground level. Nice normal detail here. It does border on a little bit noisy, but it's not flagging me up just yet for being too noisy, but it's slowly getting there. Like especially these two. These here, they get really grainy. Whereas these ones, they're not as noisy. So maybe it's a mixed balance of both of them. Oh, sorry, what did you ask? Yeah, so what I would do is, again, this is going to be eventually in your polishing phase. Is it'll be good for this type of snow mound to kind of address this geometry seam, so you can have some snow that hides this geometry seam. Some more clumps. This feels like it's just been torn off like paper, so some more clumps that are building up on edges here and here, and then you're breaking up the wood then. Because I can see at the moment it's the roof, then the wood, then the snow. Whereas you want to integrate all the layers together, so having some of these planks actually covered in snow would be a great idea to help break it up as well. Cool. Well, coming on very well. I'm looking forward to seeing, especially you tackle the thatch roof. You've got some nice silhouette here, right? Which we said last week. Just add that here as well. Maybe knock off some of these edge tiles. Just keep popping that silhouette out as much as you can. Get the snow building under and over with some more mesh clumps as well. And when you do your, it looks like you're doing vertex painting or masking for snow on the wood itself. Just have that build up a bit thicker towards the top of each plank to show like the gravity that's taken this and pushed it down. But that's solid stuff. I say this is looking how I'd expect to it at its current stage. So yeah, keep going. Doesn't matter how slow the progress is. As long as you're gradually improving it, that's good. Looking for a review on each of the texture maps to see if they're good and lighting artist friendly. Just going to step into glass shade. Oh no, not glass shaders. Nightmare. I think every studio I've worked at has not been able to do glass. So just get the IOR, put some Fresnel on it. Maybe substrate is the answer, right? Glass is just infamously painful to do. So I can't even give you any advice on that other than just ramp up the IOR and put some Fresnel on a rough shader. Are your maps PBR friendly? We don't really look at roughness maps much as lighting artists, but from an environment art point of view, you have like the level of detail you have on the orb here is showing local detail, which is quite nice, which the other parts aren't as much. So when I see like this local detail here, it's like a gradient almost, it's storytelling, but then other than like a little bit here, you don't have much like build up at the bottom of the ground or where the curb meets. You need like the intersection of stuff. So that can be with decals or with sort of meshes. I'd say RGB mask, but you don't have to use an RGB mask to do that either. But yeah, get some more contrast in here, I'd say. So the way you did it on this orb is actually really good. I'd push the garage a bit more. Just more contrast. Like I drilled all this into sort of Leah's scene for roughness. So just have a chat, have a chat, and have a look at the roughnesses on her medieval scene because she went through the exact same feedback. So you don't have enough contrast, but this is higher level than this roughness. The good news is it's pretty quick for you to adjust this map. So don't be afraid to throw some AO, some curvature. Roughness is the map you go ham on. As for your albedos, I'm going to put you against the wall of albedos and let's see if it feels good. This is what I'll be talking about in tomorrow's video. You're not bad. You're not bad. I think. By the way, this scene that Ilya relit, I think it's from Mackenzie show. This is like, if we get access to this scene, it's great. It's got some good stuff. I think you're probably too dark. Like, I don't think you'd be dark enough that you're below 60 sRGB, but this feels quite dark. Also, unless this is a metal, that's fine, but this feels really dark for whatever it is. These feel quite dark. This feels not too dark, the curb, but it feels too saturated. So it should kind of like, yeah, it feels too saturated, I think. So I'd maybe bump up a tiny bit. The biggest thing that stands out is sort of the this trim and then this here. These feel quite dark. So depending on what the surface is, you want to go look at, look at this stuff, right? You don't even need to buy it. You just look at it from the YouTube video and see if it flags up like concrete and what have you, and look at the value in Photoshop on the histogram, and then go from there, right? So these are all examples, I'd say, that are pretty good albedos. So you're not too far off. You're just a little bit saturated in some ways and a bit dark in other ways, but you're not dramatically dark, right? Um, like say this, and then the saturation of this. But yeah, it's not too far off. So it should take you like an hour to fix, probably. So, but yeah, man, cool. I like the fact you're looking at buffer views, because buffer views are the layers that really make your scene what they are. So if one of them looks wrong, all of them will eventually, something will eventually look wrong with the scene, right? But no. Oh, and this was your metallic. Wait, this is your metallic? Is that your metallic? Yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, is this metal or is it painted metal? Now this looks binary, which is usually what we want from metallics. Yeah, so this top edge, if this isn't metal, which it isn't on your map, then this is just too dark, whatever this is, right? That looks way below 60 sRGB. If that's painted metal, none of that should really be metallic, because I don't see any of the painted metal. If the painted metal was worn with scratches and was showing the steel or the iron or whatever underneath, I would expect that to be black with little bits, but you've got like this sort of mid-gray sort of grunge on. So yeah, I don't know. I would expect that to kind of be black, because it's not technically metal. So see how it looks. Try both. It could be a special material I don't know about, but yeah, that looks fine. Yeah, just decals, and some high to low poly modeling. Camera angle feels good. Get a lighting pass, get some fog to separate the background out, lighten up some of these values, and you'll be good. It's nice framing though, good stuff. These are the videos. Damn. I was like, nah, bro, I'm done. Get ready. He's like, nah, I'm good. Oh, you got the bullet holes now. Nice. Okay, that's cool. Remember you didn't have those before. Yeah, I think really it's the art side, right? You just need some material work to help sell it. Looks like it's coming on well though. Seeing this in the new environment you've done is going to be much better, because you've gone. This is the prototype stage. Now go shoot some pillars in that level and a bunch of crates. It's a good idea. So yeah, no, just some material work really. I don't have any. Uh-oh, you summoned T. You better run, Sleep. I don't think I missed anyone. Victor's just put in, so I'll do his, and then I'm gonna head off and go to the shop, get some lunch. So I'm still in early blockout stage, but I'm thinking about texturing a bit more. In my past projects, we're relying on Painter and Megascans. As an environment artist, how often are you making your own textures? Depends on the studio. If you're at double A, single A, whatever, sometimes from triple A, you make most of your own materials. But most of the time, in my experience in AAA, you have material artists that just dive so deep into making materials that um, the environment artists won't make materials. They'll know enough about material art to get around, but they're spending all their time just making the assets, blending them, vert blending, making the modular kits, using the textures made by the material artists. So yeah, environment artists they don't really make many of their textures, but to get in to like have a portfolio, you need to know to make your own textures, either through ZBrush or Painter. So it's like a catch 2020 in that way. But yeah, you don't really make much of your own materials nowadays for a lot of AAA. But for AA, you do. So having like a decent base in it would be good. But you're never going to be as solid as an environment artist. You won't be as sharp as a material artist because they just spend all day doing material art. It's like lighting. Environment artists can do lighting, but not to the extent a lighting artist because they're doing it every single day. So it's a similar sort of thing. Hey, how you doing, man? Congrats on your new job. I know you got it a while ago, but I know you come off the Fable. Was it Fable? Were you doing Fable? Yeah, can't remember if it was Fable or Forza. But yeah, congrats, man. Time flies. I'd actually say ZBrush, Victor. Like if you want to stand out nowadays, um, like Nate Stevens says this all the time, like ZBrushing your own textures and combining it with Designer, because so many people are just able to use Designer with the same nodes now. So any edge you can get is good. But yeah, I don't know many environment artists that are using Designer in production because it's usually like it depends on the studio. But most of the time, from what I know, they have material artists. Hey Jack, I can't wait to see you'll have to once the game comes out, you'll have to show me um what areas you worked on. It'll be pretty cool. There's also someone, my friend in the chat, who he's a lighting artist on Fable as well. So it's like all the small worlds crossing in and out. All right, cool. I think that's all the Patreon. Well, just remember, you can just grab me on voice or DM me if I've missed anything. But I think we got them all. We did the fixes we needed on the blueprints. We're almost ready to go. Yeah, I think this will be posted pretty soon. A new YouTube video coming out tomorrow. And then we'll go on to some relighting. But cheers, folks. And good to see you, Jack. I can't believe it's been so long already. That I remember you sound like you were just teaching yesterday at college. Now you've worked at all these studios. It's awesome. No worries, no worries. Oh, Jack, if you want to come give a talk for the community, we can pay you and we invite you to the Discord. So if you hit me up on LinkedIn if you want to give a talk for the community on environment art and stuff. Happy to have you. All right, guys, I'm gonna head off. Check out the Patreon, check out the YouTube. If you're on the Patreon, I'll see you on the Discord. Other than that, peace. Yeah, it was Jack. Yeah, reach out to me, man. It'd be cool to see if you want to come give a talk, but especially once we catch up as well. But yeah, peace, guys.